Hello, and thank you for joining me to see this very exciting replay. RTN, Albus, and Ben, who were matchmaking together, I assume, very good players, ranked at the time of this recording, 47th in the world for a range team 2v2. So, should be a very high-level play from them versus DanielGrushin and Askim. DanielGrushin, at time of this recording, was rank 2 in the world for Overcommando West, and Askim is rank 11, something like that, as Overcommando West, but he's playing as Osthair, and he's ranked quite high, Osthair as well, top 50, I believe. So, very skilled players in this game. Looks like Askim's going with double Grenadier start, DanielGrushin going with Volksgrenadier start. We are seeing conscripts from Ben, and we are seeing, of course, riflemen from Albus. American heading to the left side, Soviet heading to the right, and their counterparts meeting them here at the river. These pioneers are going to take some damage from these riflemen. Grenadiers moving up to support. And conscripts crossing the river. If they can get into close range against those folks, they may be able to get another advantage. Oh, Oorahing over into the building. Looks like he wants to prevent his opponent from securing that. This building's only got 3 windows on this side, 1 window on the north side, so I'm not sure that's going to pay off for him. He's doing some little damage on these Sturm Pioneers, but they managed to get into position on this side of the building. Those conscripts are probably going to get forced out. Meanwhile, these grenadiers are sort of holed up in these sandbags. Osthair really does struggle against the United States in the early game. Grenadiers just cannot match up against riflemen at all. And these rear echelon troops are doing a good job of drawing fire and suppressing those grenadiers. Nicely done there by Albus. He may even manage to get that full squad. Can he do it? Oh, sniped at max range, but he does get suppressed. But these grenadiers also get chased off. He may have to retreat this squad. Meanwhile, back on the right side, a Maxim has moved up, but we see a grenade. Oh, almost taking that out entirely. And the Sturm Pioneers do manage to completely decrew that machine gun. Really good grenade from that Volksgrenadier squad. Makes away with 1 guy. He can grab some cover there. He is going to steal the Maxim machine gun with that Volksgrenadier squad. Excellent, excellent play there by DanielGrushin. Wow. And Volksgrenadiers cannot throw grenades until they have teched up with another truck, so we do see that his battle group headquarters has been planted quite early in the game, and he's investing the 300 manpower to turn it into a retreat point. So, very heavily invested in that, but I think that may pay off given his early advantage against his opponent with the stolen machine gun. Very well played there. And of course that grenade was crucial in that early engagement. Looks like Albus has gone with a quick ambulance. So that's going to slow down his teching just a hair because of its 10 fuel cost, but they do have the left fuel point, and he's probably going to use it to keep his forces in the fight over here on the left. Actually, it looks like he's going to make a push for the central victory point now. Fuel cache going up. MG42 turning to support. Those riflemen are slightly poorly positioned, not quite in cover from the sandbags. He does spread out, trying to set up a flank, it looks like. Tellermine, by the way, placed on this central road. I think we'll definitely be seeing that explode in mid-game. Conscripts coming up on the flank. And that machine gun is going to be forced to make a hasty retreat. Second machine gun guarding now, which is going to prevent those riflemen from getting back up. A second Maxim is moving up, and we've got a Maxim fight going on. They're just sort of suppressing each other. Meanwhile, these infantry are fighting each other at long range. These guys are severely wounded, but they do have superior cover. These Volksgrenadiers are full health, but they're in the open. These riflemen get pinned. while this second squad of riflemen is moving up to harass the munitions. And it looks like the Allies have pretty good map control right now, even on the high fuel points, but it looks like the Allies are going to successfully take both of the high munitions points. These are your echelon troops managed to get this captured. Ambulance moving up so that he can reinforce here in the field. Oh, but those grenadiers do actually manage to chase off the rear echelon troops, so they will be able to take their munitions back. This Maxim gets flanked by some Sturm Pioneers, so he's forced to retreat that. Meanwhile, these Volksgrenadiers have pushed all the way up to this cover position, forcing his opponent to retreat. Another flank coming in from these Sturm Pioneers, and those conscripts are forced to run away. So DanielGrushin is doing an excellent job of holding and pushing the right side of the map. Meanwhile, it looks like Askim is going to successfully at least take back his side of the river and possibly take back this undefended fuel if Albus spends a little too much time in the center. But it looks like he is redirecting a few rifleman squads to the left, and we do see that his lieutenant is out, so he's going to be going with some light vehicles, utility car cooking. Ben has not teched up yet. He's just making conscripts and maxims to support. Although I would imagine he's probably going to research some form of Molotov or anti-tank grenade at some point. Fourth squad of conscripts coming out, so he's investing very heavily into his conscripts. DanielGrushin, of course, has the battle group headquarters. He may be planting this truck soon. Interesting to see what he does with that. And he's gone with an infantry support gun as his first high-tech unit, so that will definitely help against the Soviet hordes. Some fire support. And finally, Askim looks like he has teched up to battle phase 1. Oh, another full grenadier squad lost. That's a shame. He's really struggling against the superior power of these riflemen. But he has teched up to battle phase 1, so he will very likely put up his second building soon, and we will see if he takes advantage of that. Meanwhile, the Soviet is pushing in. Oh, good shot from the infantry support gun there. We also see that he's chosen the Sturm Officer, and he's probably going to be bringing in some Panzer Fusiliers as well. Very common to see Fusiliers in combination with the battle group headquarters. That's generally the strategy that they're going for when you see this battle group headquarters. They're going to invest very heavily in infantry, which can be quite challenging for a bunch of conscripts to fight against. Very nice shots from that infantry support gun, discouraging the Soviet onslaught, but we do see that the M20 has circled around and is doing some pretty good damage to this park supply half-track. I'm not sure if he's going to do anything about that. Oh! Good Panzerfaust, though, from the Grenadier Squad, sending that thing out of control. White phosphorus mortars going out from the mortar half-track, but that does nothing. I really think the mortar half-track is actually not a very good unit. I'm surprised to see that hitting the field. Quite surprised indeed. Riflemen once again pushing grenadiers off on the left side.
We have new resources available.
And some Soviet machine guns moving up again on the right. A lot of back and forth on the central victory point. No vehicles hitting this tiller mine yet, but I am not sure if the Allies are aware of its presence.
We've done it!
More half-track firing away, but not hitting much. Almost. See, that was a pretty close hit on those Volksgrenadiers. They didn't even take damage. So yeah, I really don't think the mortar half-track's a great unit, personally. Field gun manages to make it to the front lines. Suppression fire coming down from the MG42 as these Pioneers and Grenadiers try to retake a little territory on the left, but there is quite a large rifle blob over here for them to contend with. Meanwhile, looks like this field gun is taking some heavy damage. It would be pretty disastrous if the Soviets lost that to the enemy. Two Maxims set up, laying down fire. Max range green cover though, not accomplishing much against those Sturm Pioneers, but these folks do get suppressed. The fact that the enemy has stolen a Maxim is definitely hurting the Soviet advance quite a bit. Mortar half-track laying down fire, but even after all this time, it's still only got 3 kills. Pretty bad. Oh, grenade. Pretty good grenade on those conscripts right there. Ooh. That mortar actually accomplished something.
Reconnaissance flight ready at your disposal. We have new resources available.
Lieutenant moving in to help.
So much blood! Adjusting your position!
Grenade going out. Looks like we do see grenade research from the American. But they retreat just in time. Soviets taking heavy losses. He really needs to get some healing and reinforcement. He might actually benefit from utilizing his teammate's ambulance. But I guess it's a little far from the eastern front. the eastern side of the map. And over here on the west, it looks like the Americans are getting suppressed, but just due to the sheer firepower of these light machine guns, he is going to be able to force them to retreat, and he will probably once again retake the left side, but the central victory point is still in the hands of the Germans, and we see that he now has a pack protecting against any vehicles that may think to advance as well, not to mention the Teller mine, which will of course shut down anything that thinks to cross. This mortar half-track is now up to a whopping 4 kills, even against suppressed infantry. And we see a major on the field as well, so he now has a forward retreat point established by his ambulance. Looks like that pack is going to try and sneak up on that mortar half-track. He better pay attention. Can't quite see it through the fog of war, it looks like. If it manages to show itself, that pack will certainly fire. Oh, and it fires at some riflemen instead. Some sort of artillery going out on these riflemen. Meanwhile, the half-track is also taking fire. Oh, and the half-track goes down as the entire bar gets pinned, and that forces a full retreat from the American player. Meanwhile, on the right side, looks like pretty heavy pressure coming in from Daniel still. He's going to successfully take this point, it looks like, at least until these conscripts arrive. He still hasn't researched any form of Molotov or anti-tank grenade. And he also has not taken a commander that gives his conscripts PPSHs, so I'm actually rather surprised he invested so heavily into conscripts when he's not intending to get any upgrades for them whatsoever and is relying purely on his Maxim machine guns to eliminate the enemy infantry. And there is quite a lot of enemy infantry. And we see that Daniel has also got a Stuka on the field, so that is going to potentially be devastating for the enemy if he manages to get some good shots there. He needs to evacuate this building too. One good shot from the infantry support gun could bring that down on their heads. And Stuka firing. Oh no, that was perfectly aimed at those incoming machine guns and the retreating conscripts, and he manages to wipe out one full squad of conscripts as well as heavily damage another squad of conscripts and a Maxim machine gun. On the left side, it looks like we see a pretty wide flank coming from these riflemen, but they're going to come face to face with these grenadiers. Both upgrades on both sides and pretty heavy veterancy. A grenade from either one could decide this, but he is getting focused rather hard. Ooh, poorly aimed grenades there, very poorly aimed. Neither of those really connects, and he's forced to retreat. These riflemen don't accomplish anything. Oh, and it looks like we see a push for the American cutoff point. A flamethrower and a machine gun to support. Oh, but an M8 Scott is on the field to push that assault off. although it's getting rather aggressive. Walks into the... He drives right into the range of this pack. Oh, he cannot leave it there. Oh, no, I don't think he was watching that. Oh, as soon as the Scott hits the field, it is immediately destroyed. I think he may have been watching this over here, but he was forced to make a full retreat, and the ambulance is taken out. Askim makes a wonderful push, drawing attention over here while also making a push for the cutoff point. Results in the American forces being devastated. Good use of this machine gun. Although these Panzer Grenadiers are taking heavy damage from these riflemen, they're going to have to retreat. Looks like some sort of artillery coming in on the machine gun as well. Could be major artillery. Yes, it is indeed major artillery, and that machine gun decides to get out of there. I think we might be seeing a plane come in to suppress these infantry. But it completely misses its strafing run, and they are left unarmed. Another Stuka appears to have fired at this area, rather devastating these Soviet forces, and the Axis is pushing very hard at all points of the map. The American is trying to spread out a little bit and retake the left side. Poorly aimed grenade there, didn't quite clear the fence. And the Allies are desperately hanging on for territory.
Target secure. Points are down to 300.
They absolutely are struggling to keep the Oberkommando out of the east.
Take entry 42 fire.
Looks like more Grenadiers hitting the field. And they have lots of light machine gun upgrades. Ooh, that Major took a unfortunate retreat path. I'm not sure he's going to escape. Oh, and that double vet Major is taken out. That hurts. The Major's actually very cheap to replace, though. Only 160 manpower, but it's the veterancy lost that really hurts you. Lots of stolen team weapons from DanielGrushin. He's doing a great job of crewing the stolen Soviet weapons with his Volksgrenadiers and turning them against his enemy. Ooh. High explosive rounds going out on that Maxim, and it is forced to retreat. Fuel is successfully getting taken over on the left, yet more planes coming in to pin the enemy infantry and buy him time, even when he may not have superior firepower. This machine gun's not moving up, though. He's just going to let these Grenadiers fend for themselves behind it as well, and he decides to just retreat. Looks like the Stuka's moving up to fire. It has 16 kills and still no veterancy. That's surprising. You'd think that it would be at least Vet 1 with a good barrage like that. It must be extraordinarily difficult to get veterancy on the Stuka. At least in the smaller team games. Or 1v1s especially. But it really doesn't need veterancy to accomplish its intended goal. Rifleman successfully dodged that strafing run. Ooh, looks like that Stuka shot actually missed its mark a little bit. Well dodged by those conscripts. Still somewhat surprised to see that Ben has not teched up to anything beyond conscripts, maxims, and field guns. Of course, just as I say that, he does bring in an IS-2 heavy tank, so hopefully he will be able to make some progress against the enemy with that. We do see that Daniel has very little AT other than this stolen field gun. He does have one Panzerschreck on this squad of Volksgrenadiers, but beyond that, I don't think he has... Oh, no, two Panzerschrecks. But beyond that and this field gun, I don't believe he has any AT to speak of. So we'll see if this IS-2 can accomplish anything. He is sending it in a little bit unsupported, though. He needs to be careful. He really can't afford to lose that, especially not at this point in the game. Meanwhile, the American infantry has a lot of veterancy, but if we look at the size of the army compared to Askim's army, we will see that Askim has really got infantry domination, and especially with the supporting machine guns over Albus, who is down to 1 lieutenant, 3 squads of riflemen, 4 squads of riflemen now. Even this late in the game, thanks to him sort of throwing away his M8 Scott, and I think that he's about ready to get another heavy tank, but we will see what he does with his resources. Looks like the IS-2 is getting pushed back by that field gun. Strange that he would choose... Oh no, that's the infantry support gun. Shooting at it. I thought that was the high explosive barrage. So he's going to have to move that back for some repairs. Looks like it didn't accomplish quite as much as he was hoping it would. And it looks like we do see a priest on the field as well. Should help to do a little damage against these machine guns and help the United States get a little more penetration. I'm very surprised not to have seen any smoke grenades. If you feel that MGs are pinning you down, you really need to use smoke grenades. They're super cheap, only 15 munitions. Just shoot it directly at the MG and it will be completely unable to fire as it is surrounded by a cloud of smoke, allowing your infantry to charge forward in a glorious blob for the glory of America. But I don't think I have seen a single smoke grenade, which is very surprising considering how early he researched grenades. I would have expected to see many more smoke grenades from him, especially in the face of all of this machine gun fire. Lots of rifle grenades coming out from those grenadiers, completely obliterating that machine gun. No smoke grenades at all from these riflemen, and they simply stand and fire. Looks like a Stuka is being fired somewhere. Directly at the Soviet base, netting a handful of kills there. Oh, and the strafing run on the priest completely obliterates it. That strafing run is actually quite good against lightly armored or unarmored targets, and that priest goes down. Really pushing the Allied base. Oh, but the IS-2 does force a full retreat as it snipes the officer. When he dies, any nearby units will immediately retreat. Oh! Railway artillery shell hits the Allied base for massive damage. Killing just about everything except for this lieutenant. IS-2, ooh! IS-2 is up to 17 kills, but it looks like a Yak Tiger is on the field, and that IS-2 cannot take another hit like that. I'm also somewhat surprised that nothing hit these teller mines. Somewhat of a disappointment. IS-2 is doing the best it can, but it looks like it's going to be too little too late. Oh, another devastating blow from that Yak Tiger. That IS-2 better get out of there. I'm not sure it's going to be able to, though.
Consolidate our forces. We're left with 50 points. Bust out the metal, boys.
And we see that Ben and Albus are saying GG, so that will conclude the game. Really excellent early engagements by the Oberkommando West, stealing those team weapons, which is really the best thing Volksgrenadiers can do for you. They're not particularly good fighters. Really good use of that Stuka, made it up to 28 kills in the, I think, 4 barrages that it fired. Quite well aimed barrages, taking advantage of the enemy's retreat path to eliminate full squads. I was really happy not to see a flak half-track, as that unit is somewhat overused. We also we didn't see any Obersoldaten, we didn't see any Tier 4 from him at all. Just really solid use of stolen team weapons. Even without any AT of his own, he does manage to keep a heavy IS-2 at bay using just a few Panzerschrecks and a stolen field gun. And of course, he did eventually get his Jagdtiger on the field, so very impressive play from DanielGrushin there. Askim definitely struggled in the beginning against the riflemen, but once he made it into the later phases of the game, he just started pumping out those grenadiers and upgrading them with light machine guns, and then the riflemen stood no chance against him. Albus never really got artied. He didn't have to suffer the Stuka the way his Soviet teammate did, so he was sort of free to pressure the left and middle, but I was disappointed to see that he never really supported his teammate on the right with a coordinated push for the Oberkommando trucks. I feel that if the American and the Soviet had sort of double-teamed with some well-done flanks while Askim was sort of recuperating in his base, they could have really done a lot of damage there. But he kind of just focused mostly on the left and the middle and walked into MGs, and we didn't see any smoke grenades out of him either, which was a bit of a disappointment. I was highly expecting that. Don't forget about smoke. It is extraordinarily useful, especially against machine guns. And we also saw that all of the technology that the United States player made died within 30 seconds of it coming on the field. And M8 Scott drove straight up here and then got shot in the rear by a pack due to just poor positioning. I'm not sure he ever even realized what happened to that unit. I think it was just a rally point set and then it died. Same with the priest, it got strafed and killed, and the mortar half-track actually was on the field for quite some time, but it accomplished nothing because the mortar half-track is a useless unit, and I highly advise anybody to reconsider if they are thinking about purchasing one of these, because it's terrible. The IS-2 actually performed quite well, but it's the only high-tech unit that the Soviet player made. We never even saw a second base building from him, and I guess that was due largely to somewhat poor map control, or perhaps he was just intending to go straight into an IS-2 from the beginning. But I think that that left him without some badly needed light vehicles to counter this largely infantry-based army. So, that pretty much wraps up this game. Very well played by the Axis, somewhat questionable decisions by the Allies. But I hope that you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.